How much salary do you need to buy? Let me rephrase that. How much salary do you need in order to buy a house in Highland Village? That is the mission that we're on here today. So we're going to go into some numbers. We're going to look at Highland Village itself. We're going to look at the real estate property and going to go into 3 different price points to give us an understanding of how much we need to make, the salary that we need to earn per year in order to be able to afford a house in Highland Village. So that is what's on our mind today. So let's get started. Let's start off with first understanding how much homes are being sold for right now in the city of Highland. So let's go over to Highland Village right now and see what type of inventory we have available to us to purchase. All right, so right now there's 55 properties, and this includes all type of property, in Highland Village for sale at $801,000 is the average price point. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take off these other property type, and we're gonna go to search. All right, so let's see here. Okay, here we go. All right, so let's zoom out for a quick second and see where the heck Highland Village even is. So as you can see, Highland Village, if you blink while you're going down I-35, you're gonna miss it. There's one sign, and it's basically going to the pier there, or it's not a pier. It's the boat. What's it called? Ramp, whatever. Anyway, here, that's what I'm trying to say. So if you blink, you're gonna miss Highland Village. But if you're in and around Highland Village, you know how pretty cool it is. It's a pretty dope spot. I like the area significantly. You have incredible real estate, and of course, you have a lot of lakefront property. So that's what we're gonna be going into today. Most likely, a lot of these homes do have access to that type of scenery. So let's check this out. Again, our goal here is to find out how much we need to make per year in order to be able to afford real estate in this market in Highland Village. So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at the least expensive home for sale. We're going to take the median price, or the average price. No, it's going to be median. The median price in Highland Village, and then we're going to go into the luxury spot. So somewhere in the luxury space, we're going to look at those rates. All right, so the least expensive home for sale right now in Highland Village is $439,000. So that is the first calculation that we're going to make. All right, so that is the first one that we're going to look at to find out how much we need to make in order to purchase a home in Highland Village. All right, so as you can see, there's a lot of really cool real estate here. It's incredible real estate, but also you have some expensive real estate. You're going to need to have a good amount of budget in order to afford these areas. So if you go over to the opposite side of the equation, into the luxury space, the most expensive home for sale right now in the luxury world here for Highland Village is $1.69 million, which is on the higher end. So for our purposes today, as long as we're in the luxury space, we're going to be fine, because here at this point we're talking about some jumbo loans. So we're not going to get into the any one of these is going to allow us to make that type of calculation to find out how much we need to make in order to purchase a home in this type of real estate. All right, so for our purposes today, we're going to hit up $1.3 million. That is the calculation on the high end that we're going to make. So $1,395,000. That is a calculation that we're going to make as well. How much we need to make in order to be able to afford this house in Highland Village. Now, for the average price, or for a reasonable average price, we're going to look at a home for, let's say, $875,000. Well, let's go with 730. Is that a good number? Let's go with 750. We'll go with this one. We're gonna look at 750 as our median price. We're gonna use that number. So for Highland Village, what we're gonna do today is we're gonna look at the least expensive home for sale right now in Highland Village. So you get to see how much you actually need to make in order to be able to afford this home in Highland Village. Then we're going to look at a right around a median, an average, call it average. There's no exact science here. We're just going to say what's available for sale right now is what we're going to calculate based off of, and we're going to shoot right towards the middle. And then we're going to go into the luxury space, one of the most expensive homes in Highland Village that's for sale at the moment. So we're going to make these three calculations of how much we need to make in order to buy these homes. All right, so this max price calculator is linked down below. The exact spreadsheet that you're looking at right now is available for you and for your download. So make sure you go down to the description and check it out. All right, so let's start the calculation. So first off, we need to establish the scenario. We need to establish the market scenario, and we need to establish the Highland Village scenario because it's a little bit different. So here with the down payment, what we're going to say is we're going to buy this house for 5% down. That is the minimum that we're going to need to put in order to purchase a property. Regardless of the one that we're looking at, we're going to put 5%. And when I say minimum, I'm sorry, I should not have said minimum. Depending on the loan that you get, you could do 3% down minimum if you have a conventional loan. You could do 3.5% down if you have an FHA loan. If you have a VA loan, as an example, that's actually 0% down. If you find a property in Highland Village that's eligible for USDA, which you won't, but if you were able to, that would also be a 0% down financing product. But for our purposes today, as most of our clients end up purchasing with 5 to 20% down, we're just going to go with the 5% down that a lot of our clients end up going with, just for the sake of this example. Interest rate is something that's going to vary across the board, and it's going to change every single hour. So by the time that you're watching this video, regardless of when that is, the interest rate has changed. So the best way for you to find out what a reasonable average interest rate you might have access to, depending on your specific time of buying, is to go to Google and just type in, what is the interest rate right now to buy a house, or some variation of that. Go to bank rate and look at what's going on right now, right? So at the time of this recording, which is Saturday, September 14th, the average 30-year is 6.34%. So 6.34%, that is the number that we're going to go with. So 6.34%, that is the interest rate that's available on average right now. Now, there's certain things that are going to impact your interest rate. Your credit score is going to have a big determining factor on your interest rate. The amount that you're borrowing is also going to have a factor on that. Your debt to income ratio, so how much debt you have versus to how much income you're making. So there's a lot of different variables that are going to go into your interest rate, but on average 6.34% is what you're seeing on the market right now. So you might get quoted higher, you might get quoted lower if you're purchasing right around this time. As far as the length of your mortgage, most loans are going to be 30 years, so we're going to stick to that, but you're able to modify it however you want. If you want to do a 20-year, a 15-year, you're able to run those numbers based off of your specific situation. Now, property tax rate. This is really where we're going to spend a good amount of time in understanding what property taxes are here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. It's super important that we know this information because property taxes are a real thing, and especially here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. So let's start from the beginning. When you buy a home, you're going to be paying property taxes. That might excuse me, that might be a little bit of a mind shift if you've been renting or if you've been leasing your entire life. When you buy a property, you're going to be paying property taxes. In the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, the average property tax rate, so essentially how much you're going to be charged percentage-wise, is going to be 1.8% to about 3%. It's going to be on that spectrum. So 1.8 to about 3%. That is the average property tax rate. The third thing to understand about property taxes, especially here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, is that there's up to 5 numbers that you're going to need to find in the specific city that you're looking to purchase in. So again, I'll say that again. There's up to 5 numbers that you're going to need to find and add together in order to get your true property tax rate. And these numbers are going to vary across the entire Metroplex, and they're going to be city specific. So the first 3 numbers that you're going to need to find regardless come heck or high water is going to be the city tax rate, the county tax rate, the ISD tax rate. So the city, county, ISD. Those are 3 numbers that those numbers need to be found on every single city in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. There's 2 additional numbers, so again, up to 5. There's 2 additional numbers that could show up depending on the city that you're buying in, and that is the higher education tax. So think of community college, and or the hospital network. So if you're in Dallas, think Parkland Hospital. If you're in Fort Worth, think JPS Health Network. Those are 2 potential tax rates that you're going to need to factor in, because they might be added to your property tax number, your property tax rate. So again, we're not just looking at one number. No, that would be too easy. We're looking up to 5 numbers. So let's go and find those right now. So the best thing to do right now is go to Highland Village, Texas property tax rate, and go directly to their website to see if they give us that information. So notice that this is directly to their website. So txhighlandvillage.civilplus.com. Wow, we're running out of domains now. All right, so here in the city of Highland Village, again, we're doing this calculation. We got to find the specific property tax rate. Sales tax, we don't need that. Here we go. Combined tax rate. Here we go. Tax levy, general fund, debt obligations, total assessed. Okay, cool. So they give us the information that we need. And here we go. So remember that there's 3 numbers that I mentioned that you're going to need to find come heck or high water. The city, the county, the ISD. Those are the numbers that you see right now. The city, the county, the ISD. Those are 3 numbers that we found. In many cities, 2 additional numbers can also be found: the higher education and the hospital network. In this particular city of Highland Village, those are not a factor. So you're in a good spot, meaning you don't have 2 additional tax assessments that you need to pay on your property taxes assessed value, or on your property's assessed value. So we're in a good spot. So what this means for us is, back in the day, 4 years ago or 3 years ago, it was 2.1%. Then last year they did a tax reduction, 2.0%. And now you're actually on the lowest spectrum. So it's actually, remember, the averages right now are about, well, technically 1.6 is the lowest that I've seen, and that's towards the South Lake area, but we're going to stick to the same. So 1.8% to about 3%. The lowest range being 1.8% in property taxes across the DFW Metroplex, the 100 plus cities in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Highland Village actually is on the lowest range. It's 1.82%, which is huge for you, which means that you're not going to be paying as much in property taxes as your neighbors, as the Flower Mounds of the world, as the Lewisvilles of the world, as the Dentons of the world, as the Colonies of the world, as the Little Elms of the world. This is a really good thing for you, right? So 1.82%. So what this means is, I don't remember which one. So I've been sick this past week, so that's why I haven't been doing live streams the past week. I don't know what, I can find out. I don't know what live stream this particular 2.27 is from, but let's look and see which was our last live stream for this series. Haltom City. So this was off of the Haltom City video, which, as you see, is about 0.4% higher than Highland Village. So where you live matters. There's a huge discrepancy, right? So if you're on the lowest end, if you buy a property that assesses tax assesses 1.8% to one that is 2.8%, that's thousands of dollars in property taxes that you're saving every single year. So it's a big difference. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put we're not going to put the point. We don't need that. The property tax rate is 1.82%. So we don't need the point here based off of the way that this calculator operates. So 1.82%, that is a property tax rate in Highland Village. So at this point, you don't really need to go and find it yourself, but you have the tools available to you now on where to go to find this information, because it's going to change depending on the city that you're going with. Insurance rate. When you buy a property, you're going to be paying homeowners insurance, and the homeowners insurance is going to change every single year. I suggest that you shop every single year for homeowners insurance. Shop that around. That's what I'm currently doing on my real estate portfolio, because I'm paying way too much in homeowners insurance. So the estimate that we give is, you don't need to mess with this number right now, but it's 0.75% times the value of the home to give us the yearly homeowners insurance premium. So again, we're essentially just using a little equation. We're multiplying 0.75% times the value of the home. So it's going to go through and multiply times the value of the home to get the premium that we can expect to pay. So this, I would leave it as is, because this is the number that we use here internally and with our professionals on calculating the home insurance rate. We're going to pretend that our credit is good. In this particular case, we're not going to put ourselves excellent. We're also not going to put ourselves in a terrible situation. So our mortgage insurance rate. Let's talk about mortgage insurance, because this is going to come into play with this type of loan that we're seeking. Remember that the down payment has to do with, there's certain minimums depending on the loan that you get. If you get a conventional loan, it's 3% down. If you get an FHA, it's 3.5% down. Well, those are minimums. Now, there's something that happens, something magical that happens when you put 20% down. When you put 20% down on the purchase of your home, when you put at least 20% down, you're avoiding what's called mortgage insurance. This insurance is an insurance that the lender puts on you in the event that you default. In other words, they're reducing their risk. They're minimizing their losses if you default. So if you default, of course, they're going to take the property back. That's going to come back regardless, even if you put 20% down. But they also have this mortgage insurance that they now have to collect against in the event that you default. Now, here's the kicker. You're paying for this. You're paying for this premium. You're paying for this expense, which that's the kicker, right? So this means that if you put anything less than 20% down, if you get a conventional loan or an FHA loan, it doesn't matter. If you put less than 20% down, you're paying that mortgage insurance. Hopefully we're on the same page up until now. Here's where a distinction happens. If you have a conventional loan, so again, conventional minimum down payment is 3% down. But if you have a conventional loan and you put less than 20% down, as you're making payments throughout the years, you can get rid of that mortgage insurance. Once you own 20% of your home, as you're making payments, once you own 20% of your home, mortgage insurance goes away with your conventional loan. If you get an FHA loan and you keep making payments, it doesn't matter. You're paying mortgage insurance forever and for always, right? So those are two big distinctions. So that's where the mortgage insurance rate comes into play. We're assuming that we're going to get a conventional loan here. We're assuming that we have good credit, right? So it gives us an estimate of how much we're going to be paying in mortgage insurance. All right, so yearly HOA fees. So HOA fees are going to be a way of life, especially in Highland Village. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a reasonable $800 in HOA fees in this particular market. You have higher priced real estate. You have very coveted real estate. You have real estate that may or may not give you amenities. But at the end of the day, the fact of life here is that HOAs are going to be a thing, at least here in this particular city. There's some other cities that HOAs aren't as big of a thing, but in this particular city, they are. So I'm going to go ahead and budget that into our equation. Income tax rate, we're not going to worry about this because it's going to be changing. All right, so again, this is linked down below, so make sure that you go and check it out. If it's going to be in the comment section and also in the description. What we have now, what we've established is what's the current real estate market right now in Highland. Well, we know that the lowest price home in Highland Village right now is $439,000. The average is about $750,000, and the luxury space for Highland Village is about $1.4 million. We have these numbers in place. Now, what we've added to the equation is what the real estate market is currently doing, essentially what the scene looks like right now. We know roughly the interest rate that we're going to be paying. We know roughly the property tax rates that are available right now, or that Highland Village is assessing right now. So we have that in the market condition category. What we bring to the table now is going to be how much money we have, right? So this is where the calculation comes into play. This is where we establish, can we buy a house that we want in these three different price points in Highland Village with the income that we're currently making? This is where we get to answer the question of how much we need to make in order to purchase a house in Highland Village. So for our purposes today, we're going to say that we make $125,000. That's going to be our starting point. And you're going to see how that breaks down into the affordability aspect. But before we do that, we need to, in addition to adding the income, we also need to assess how much debt we have. Right? So debt means student loans. Debt means child support. This means personal loans, credit cards, car loans. This is what debt is. Don't confuse debt with expenses. Expenses is your day-to-day things like gas, food, phone bills, utilities, groceries. Those are your expenses. Those have already been factored into the equation and ratio that the lenders use. What we need here is for you to input your debt. Now, again, this is linked down below, so make sure that you get it. And once you get it, just go to File, make a copy, and save it into your drive, and you'll be good to go. So what you want to do here is just name the debt and then the minimum monthly payment that you have for that. So make sure that you put the minimum payment, not what your actual payment is. I understand that some of you might be paying more towards principal to get rid of the debt sooner. Don't put that amount, put the minimum monthly payment. That's how you're going to be calculated from. So again, this is yours to keep. So this is going to be you editing on your drive, on your calculator. So it's not something I have access to. Now, if you have a co-borrower in place, so with many lenders, you're going to have up to 3 co-borrowers that you can borrow with, whether that's spouses, whether that's kids, whether that's friends, whatever the case may be. You're going to put their yearly income here, and they too will need to put their debt here as well. Right? So again, the debt, we don't need the expenses. So you're going to get both of these numbers added into your equation. So then when you go to the third tab, you're going to see your affordability. This lets you know up to how much you would be approved for based off of the market conditions that we just input and how much you're making and also how much debt you have. This is a calculation that this goes into. So here's what this means. The most that you'll be able to borrow, so essentially the most expensive home that you're going to be able to purchase is going to be about $554,000. That's well north of this, right? So in other words, if you make that $125,000 per year, you're going to be able to buy this house. Now, here's the thing: whenever we do discovery calls with our clients, where we go through these breakdowns, we don't calculate for the riskiest type of loan. We don't even calculate for a more aggressive type of loan. Essentially, this is you're borrowing less and you're using less of your net income. We don't coach to this. We don't make decisions based off of this. Where we like our clients to be is, of course, to the safest part possible. That would be ideal, but I understand that you need a significant amount of income in order to be able to afford prices like these. What we do is, whenever we're coaching our clients, whenever we're walking through different scenarios, we want the maximum price that they're looking for to be somewhere between here. So let me rephrase that. The price, the value of the home that they're looking to purchase, to be between the moderate and the aggressive number here. So for the $439,000 home that we're trying to buy, this meets that criteria. It's higher than this, but lower than this, right? So it's slightly above moderate and just slightly above moderate and considerably lower than the aggressive loan. So here, based off of this breakdown, we could even probably make less. Actually, no. That's we would need to make more if we wanted to do that. So yeah, 125 is about right. Yeah. So $125,000 is what you would need to make in order to purchase a home here in Highland Village. Well, now let's see, because I'm getting confused now. Yep, that's what that is. So you could even make less, $439. Yeah. So we're going to go with this one because it feels a little bit more close to home. So you need to make $115,000. So keep in mind, so if you make $115,000, that first price point that you're trying to buy in, $439,000, that's somewhere in the middle. It's a little bit more balanced. It's somewhere in the middle of the moderate loan and the aggressive loan. So if you make $115,000, you're going to be able to buy a home valued at $439,000 in the city of Highland Village. That's how the calculation goes. Now, if we wanted to buy a home in Highland Village that's valued at $750,000, which is this home right here that we are seeing right now in the MLS available for sale, what we're going to do is we're going to go and get a raise. We're going to go and ask for a raise and see if we can buy this house if we make $185,000 a year. So $185,000, we're going to go over here, and we see that based off of this number of $750,000, it's between the moderate and the aggressive. So if you make so that $750,000 is above this, and below this. So for our calculation, for our money, we are able to buy this house if we make $185,000 a year. That's how the calculation works. Now, of course, you can adjust some numbers. You can go higher with gross income, lower than gross income, and see where you fit in the ballpark. But what I'm giving you is more of the range. All right, and if we were to buy a house of $1.4 million without getting into the specifics of jumbo loan versus not jumbo loan, what we would need to do is go back to the well and see how much we need to make in order to be able to afford that home. So what we're going to say is if we make $225,000 a year, are we able to buy this house? Not yet. So you see that the most that we could buy would be $1 million property. So if we make $265,000, will that get us closer? Well, we're still not there. What if we make $300,000? Again, we're trying to get to $1.4 million. Well, if we make $300,000, we're still a little bit further away from where we need to be. So let's go at 325. All right, so just enough here, right? So if we make $325,000, we're going to be in between the moderate and the aggressive type of loan, just barely, but we are technically in there. So if we make $325,000, we would be able to afford this house of $1.4 million in Highland Village. Now, again, there's going to be some consideration about jumbo loans and all that fun stuff, but we're not going to get into that right now. Outside of that, if you're looking to buy in Highland Village, these are the price points that you're looking at right now: the least expensive home and the most expensive home, the average price home. If you're wanting to buy in Highland Village, what you would need to be making roughly ballpark would be about $115,000 in order to be able to afford this home right now with the 5% down and everything that comes with this market condition. If you're looking to buy a $750,000 home in Highland Village, you're looking at $185,000 in salary. Now, if you want to buy that $1.4 million, you're looking at $325,000 in yearly income, so you could purchase that property. Folks, if you're looking to buy or sell in Highland Village, check out our links down below. We would love to schedule a discovery call. This is exactly how much you would need to make in order to buy a home here in Highland Village. If you have a question, comment, concern, or you have an idea for a video topic that would make sense for your specific situation, please feel free to comment down below. Outside of that, see you on the next video. Thanks so much. Bye.